preparing to stream. So give it a sec. All right, it's coming.
It's actually streaming now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just have to make sure it's not talking. It's talking. Hold on. Okay, there you go. And I will record, and then we're all set. Okay.
Hi, everybody. So Joni's going to put the poem up, and I'll explain about this. Again, this was one that I was just given. I just thought about this wonderful meeting that we have and asked to see, which poem it was going to be. And this came, and so I hope you won't think it's too basic, because it's kind of like, I mean, I always feel that I'm going back to basics over and over again. So, but this helped me very much as well at a time. Yeah, it was last week. So it's called, Is This God Talking? Is this God talking? Is it so? If my thoughts are busy, judging, or joyless, the answer is no. Is this God talking? Or is it my mind hawking its wayward negative beliefs, stealing my peace like a thief's set of tools to break into my safe, taking my treasure and attacking my faith? No, that is not God talking. Is this God talking? Seems innocent enough. I'm only thinking about trivial stuff. There's nothing negative here, like worry or fear. In fact, I'm admiring this beautiful flower. Isn't that God talking for at least part of this hour? No, it is not God speaking. It's still my mind leaking opinions and descriptions about the flower, rather than joining its silence and feeling its power. Surely this is God talking. When I criticize myself and try to do better, to be good and adhere to the spiritual letter. Now, can we move it up again? Right to the top. Okay. Stop there. Thank you. Surely this is God talking when I criticize myself and try to do better, to be good and adhere to the spiritual letter. No, it is not God talking. He will never condemn. He only knows your potential. You are his gem. So how do I know when God is talking? If I've a decision to make, a worry or concern, I'm so confused and don't know which way to turn. I'm searching for answers and any solutions, and I'm waiting to hear God's contributions, but I don't know if it is him talking. Then suddenly, this inner knot begins to untie when at last I listen to his reply. When you really want to hear the truth, then you know I am talking. You're finally listening, and I am walking beside you, hand in hand. And now you suddenly understand I am that. And only when you fall quiet and put yourself on a wordless diet, then the way ahead becomes crystal clear. In my presence, there is nothing to fear. Now that is God talking as the I am that I am. If I want to move that up, thank you. There are no decisions in oneness, so I can't go wrong by taking frequent sojourns into his silent song. When I cease going on benders of forcing my own agendas, then I know it is God talking, because there is no word, just silence. Yet all I need is clearly heard. So I love my frequent habit of asking many times a day, is this God talking, or is it my way? So I've actually got it here, Joni, so don't worry about it, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read it again, and I just would ask everybody to just close their eyes and, just kind of let it flow. Okay. Is this God talking? Is it so? If my thoughts are busy, judging, or joyless, the answer's no. Is this God talking? Or is it my mind hawking its wayward negative beliefs, stealing my peace like a thief, set of tools to break into my safe, taking my treasure and attacking my faith? No, that is not God talking. Is this God talking? Seems innocent enough. I'm only thinking about trivial stuff. There's nothing negative here like worry or fear. In fact, I'm admiring this beautiful flower. Isn't that God talking for at least part of this hour? No, it is not God speaking. It's still my mind leaking opinions and descriptions about the flower, rather than joining its silence and feeling its power. Surely this is God talking, when I criticize myself and try to do better to be good and adhere to the spiritual letter. No, it is not God talking. He will never condemn. He only knows your potential. You are his gem. So how do I know when God is talking? If I've a decision to make, a worry or concern, I'm so confused and don't know which way to turn. I'm searching for answers and any solutions, and I'm waiting to hear God's contributions, but I don't know if it is him talking. Then suddenly, this inner knot begins to untie, when at last I listen to his reply. When you really want to hear the truth, then you know I am talking. You're finally listening, and I am walking beside you hand in hand. And now you suddenly understand I am that. And only when you fall quiet and put yourself on a wordless diet, then the way ahead becomes crystal clear. In my presence, there is nothing to fear. Now that is God talking, as the am that I am. There are no decisions in oneness, so I can't go wrong by taking frequent sojourns into his silent song. When I cease going on benders of forcing my own agendas, then I know it is God talking, because there is no word, just silence. Yet, all I need is clearly heard. So I love my frequent habit of asking many times a day, is this God talking, or is it my way? Thank you. Thank you for listening. Dov, hi, you've got your hand up.
Okay. I mean, that was, I'm going to use the word, first word is brilliant, but it's more than brilliant. There's a synchronicity for me that I didn't think I was going to be sharing this morning at all. unbeknownst to you, Mandy, I mentioned you 2 or 3 times at yesterday's Awakening Together service. Regina Dawn Akers was leading, and she spoke about an opening for her in which she realized that what she listens to are thoughts, and thoughts are meaningless. And I've been going through the same thing this past couple of days because of something that happened in Gather. And I mentioned this even yesterday. I mentioned it yesterday at a class I was teaching. Someone said, uh, platitudes don't help me. And platitudes are, the course is full of platitudes. I'm not a body. There is no world. There's nothing outside of me. And the person who said it, that doesn't really help me. I'm feeling bad. I'm trying to get out of this mess I'm in. So I realized that, there's 2 ways of teaching. One is direct teaching, which the course teaches directly, and then there's indirect through our relationships. And that's pretty much how I do counseling. But it came to me that the thoughts that people have and that I have are not their own thoughts. And that's pretty much what you were saying. And that's what it says in lesson 49, because that's the first thing that comes to my mind is God speaks to me all through the day. Of course, I'm not listening because I'm listening to all the trivia and all the nonsense of right. I realize that being right is probably the biggest block, because even when I'm wrong, the ego says, you're wrong. So right or wrong, ego wins. So there is no right or wrong. But I'm going to take this, if it's okay with you, I'm going to ask Lynn to be my, I asked if I can have a Sunday spot at Awakening Together and speak, and do my homily, as they call it. And I'm going to ask Lynn to be my reader, and I'd like for her to read what you just read as a reading to get into my homily. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
That'd be an honor. Thank you so much. I'm really glad it resonated, and that would be lovely. Lynn reads beautifully, so that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
I see Lynn's hand up, but we have 3 more people who joined. Is it possible to read it again? Is it?
Um,
Or no?
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit later, and then yeah, I'd like to hear what Lynn's going to say. I'll just see what happens. It'll come to me whether to do that again. But yeah, thank you, Joni. Yes, Lynn.
Oh, hey, no, this is so beautiful because exactly the same thing, Dove. Since that whole uh, questioning and debacle came up with the idea of platitudes and thoughts and what is it that I'm hearing here, and what is it that I'm expressing? It is, yeah, those thoughts, and they're not my thoughts, right? The only thoughts that I really think are the ones I think with God. So if I'm not, if I'm not thinking thoughts with God, I'm thinking all sorts of other things, and it's a direct pointer to look at those thoughts and make an informed decision as to whether it's God talking or not. But what I've come to see for myself is God is always talking to me, always talking to me. I know it before I know anything else that's going on, but I get dragged into these stories and imaginings and forget about what God was telling me. I get into these ideas about right and wrong, and we should do this and not do that, and all those things, and forget about what God's telling me, which is always the first thing. The only thing that's really here, is love. So that's the only thing that if it doesn't seem like love, then it's not real. And if Jesus tells us in the Course in Miracles, if they speak not of Christ to you, you didn't speak of Christ to them. You know, that's where uh we're coming to. And you know, I'm always hearing that. I always hear exactly before anything else what is really happening and what to do. So and it's funny because I just I picked up my phone one day, a couple of when Lent first started, and we're in Lent. If you're um, familiar with the Catholic liturgical calendar, we're in Lent right now, which is the basically 40 days um, before the crucifixion. I believe that's how it worked out. Anyway, so and during that time, we're supposed to do certain things. If you're a Catholic, you know, um, and I'm not going to go into that. But what popped up on my phone was this actor, Chris Pratt, who I adore. He's the cutest thing ever. Popped up on my phone, and he looked at me on my phone. Obviously, this is an ad, and said, "Will you pray with me?" To which I said, "Oh yeah, I will." And so, you know, I clicked on there, I prayed with him, I joined this program that they have, and there are a few actors. If you watch the TV show The Chosen, the guy that plays Jesus in The Chosen is one of the people that prays with you. And then also every day I'm doing the rosary. Why? Because God told me to. I didn't even have to think about it. When the thing popped up, said, do the rosary, I'm like, I'm on it. You know, I pull my beads up, we're going. And every day, every night, um, I it's the most calming thing, the most joyful thing to join with the Holy Mother, to join with Jesus and the Holy Spirit in doing this rosary. Now, why would a person who hasn't been a Catholic for 60 years just suddenly go into wanting to pray the rosary every day? Because I was told to do it. And it wasn't because I said, oh, this would be a good idea. I was told to do it, and it has brought me so much joy. But anyway, that's really, I think if you just listen, you're being told you're being told all the time. Here's how to access remember my love. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mandy.
Oh, thank you, Lynn. I think that you've just sort of, made it very clear how very specific it is, because it's so although we are the one presence, we are all the individual faces of the same oneness, and we get spoken to exactly according to what resonates with us. So for you, it's the rosary, doing that. For somebody else, it could be listening to music or listening to something. For me, it's silence. It's just, so it's, and there's no better way, absolutely not. There's just the way that's right for you and puts you into, yeah, exactly. Dov, you've got your hand up. Did you want to say something
Yes,
else?
yes. I forgot one other thing. The first time I mentioned your name was Regina said, there's only, the dictionary is full of words and meanings, and actually none of them really mean anything. She says there's only one word that has any meaning. I'm saying to myself, is she going to use the word is? And she says, is
Good
the
for her.
only. And then I wrote in the chat, and I think it's good to have a chat because 50 people saw me write, is-ness is your only business by Mandi Solk. Great book. Great book. Great book of poetry. That is what, yeah. So it's amazing that and I've been saying that's basically how we kind of got back together for a second time. I've been saying for years now, God is, as Ken Wapnick says, is the only words in the Course of Miracles that is true. Nothing else is really, everything else is a concept. And Jesus in the Course says, salvation can be said to be an escape from all concepts. And of course, concepts, you can use platitudes, anything. It's the is-ness of the nowness, the is-ness of the nowness. You got to laugh, really.
You know, oh, I love that you said that, Dov, because I mean, because it's about simple. It really is. Now, we all like different things, and when you were mentioning the rosary, Lynn, I could just see that. I've done the rosary two at times in my life, and I get that. I really do get that. And some of us are into kind of things that are more, if you like, ceremonial or different ways to kind of come to that. And like I say, it's very specific to what we are, and we're all doing the same thing. But to me, it is just that two word, that one two letter word that is, and it just for me it just calms me instantly, you know. Is because if there's any worry or decision, it's always future based. It could be past based, basic, you know, but there's a lot of future based when we come to worry, anxiety, and decision. And as soon as you say is, you're reminded to think, what's happening now, right now? We're okay. We're always okay right now. And the whole expression of that opens the door in your heart is. Yeah. Rafi.
For me, the only word God has is yes. It's the only word in the vocabulary is yes. And my response to the yes is always thank you. And that's all I ever need. And when Doug was talking before about synchronicity, I right before I got on this call, I woke up from my dream sleep, and I had this dream that was just awful, and it was full of conflict and a car I was driving knocking a hole in somebody's door, and people are insanity. And I woke up from it, and the lesson is you got to wake up from this dream and the insanity of this dream. The and I went back as can I? Yes, thank you. And getting back into what you said before and resonates with me, the only sound is quiet. I know it's paradoxical, but the paradox is what makes it true. But the only sound is quiet, and I go to the quiet as often as I possibly can, and it's always there. It's omnipresent, and it's rather obvious. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
No, I absolutely, and for me too, you know, it's always back to the silence, and you know, it takes some time sometimes if we're not used to silence to get very comfortable with the silence. But these poems are written to me from the silence. They come from the silence, and I speak them in the silence, and that's why. Joni, I don't use music behind them because I don't want anything to make it soporific or take away. I just want us to always get used to the silence. And like on here, if there's nobody speaking, that's fine. We can just close our eyes till somebody decides to speak and be really comfortable with that. And then we share a presence that's you know, really beautiful. Yeah, that's why I've put it came to me, put yourself on a wordless diet. That line was just given to me. I thought, oh, I like that. Yeah, Joni.
Yes, up until now, I used to be allergic to silence. So, you know, even what I did last week was lovely, but it was from ego. And I appreciate being pointed out when I'm not getting the message, you know, that I'm blocking the silence. So in your poem where it says God's not speaking, and what Rafi said about a dream, it's still my mind leaking opinions and descriptions about this dream rather than joining its silence and feeling its power. When someone was telling us about they woke up from a dream. And the dream was, for example, somebody was coming into the house and pouring Lysol all over, like they were cleaning up after a murder. The husband woke her up, and so she had awakened. What, as Raffi said, the next thing was where she realized then she was waking up from a dream and she went within. What I have done so many times out of habit for the ego is get up and look for the Lysol, like, where is it? No, it's not. It's a dream. So in your poem, it's like the discernment between, is God speaking, or is this wonderful trigger for me, as Dove has taught me? All of this is for me. What is it for? To go silent, go to the silent. I'm noticing more and more, thanks to Beth's visit and things, how how the mind is running all the time, which we know, but I'm getting a different layer. So I'm getting to see that, not that I should go look for out in the dream the Lysol for cleaning up the problem, or something. No, I have to keep going to silence. And that's uncomfortable. But I love what you're saying, because this poem talks about discernment. And I didn't always know whether I was repeating. And, repeating the story is like being in the nightmare. So I appreciate this, because this is what Beth and I were talking about. Who am I listening to? Who do in this moment? I'm stuck on the loop of being in the dream. If I want to move forward, the only way I'm imagining is listening to God's voice. And the only place to find that is in the silence. So thanks.
Oh, Joni, that is, that is every word so beautifully said. You are really, really eloquent. Thank you for that. And I love that you said. And I mean, I think it takes us all, take me as well, absolutely, to come to a place where, particularly in public, that you used to being silent. I'll just say that when I meet somebody for the first time, or they might come to see me, or for some reason I'm with this other person and we've not ever spent much time together, I always say, if we lapse into silence, don't ever worry about it, because I just love silence. So never feel that it's awkward if we run out of things to say, because that's heaven to me. And they relax. It's a really great opener with somebody that you've not met before. So it lets you both off the hook of feeling that you need to fill every space. And particularly if you have got somebody coming to stay with you and maybe they've not stayed with you before, you don't know how it is, it immediately puts them at ease. It's a beautiful thing to do that.
Well, and I want to thank you, because I actually applied it with Beth,
Mhm.
because it's very uncomfortable for me. Like, what do I got to do? What do I do? What does she need? And I just chose to silence. And then I realized that is difficult. And up until now, I didn't enjoy it. And now I do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Joni. Yeah, John. Hi, John.
Hi, 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 Mandy. Oh,
Hi.
nice to see your smiling face and being on the call and just using these words. That's is amazing, So the thing I wanted to share what came to me, and it's exactly what you said about the wordless diet, and that really resonated with me. And the other word was agenda, because back of all, it's whatever I'm doing, whether it's my silence, there's always a little agenda running, or that's the way that it seems to me. And so um, kind of takes me back to like, even if I land with the word isness, I got a story about isness too. It's just a word. And the point is, I understand I'm supposed to be a communication link. That's why I exist, as a communication link. So how the hell am I going to do this, without falling into this bear trap? So it comes to me that wordless is an experience I can have, and I have had, with a pre-verbal child. Just to go second position and just assume their posture, their view of the world, their map of the world and just go spend time with that absolute innocence or wonder or curiosity, and but it's wordless, and it's like an exploration. So it's like when somebody says, "Do you want to pray with me?" I thought you were "We want to play with me," and yeah, put my hand up for that one, you know. So that's the one that I kind of shoot for, and I really enjoy the part that it's a playful experience to be with you and to listen to all the other concepts. Because I realized without a concept, I have nothing to latch onto. That's my hook. It's my concept. So basically, was wanting to go back to conceptlessness, being with that, and having that, but having the, and I put the but in there, but having that skill or that ability to be able to draw on that and draw on that experience and actually bring together creativity, which is the function that I can be a creator, granted a mini creator, in the land of the creation of the major creator. So it's a fun place to play, and I'm so happy to be here with all the people, with all that's going on, and love it. I love that that Joni comes along with so many things, and for me that just bounce off me in a playful way. 6 planets, my 6 planets didn't line up, and blah blah blah. And I love it. Anyway, I'll cut out my words right now. So I'll say thank you, and I'm honored to be here.
I wouldn't want to cut out one word of anything you say because it's full of that very joy and innocence that you absolutely exude, John. And I love what you said about being with a child, because I just do this I do this story time at the local library, and we have these I don't know if I've told you this. I don't want to bore you. I might have told you it already. Anyway, I do this story time once a fortnight, and they're all 2 and 3 year olds, and they're all so innocent, and they just, they queue up for a high five, and then you've got to wait till all of them have had one, and they're just so sweet, and some of them are very, very silent. Just 1 or 2 you'll get that never say a word, and I love joining that silence with them, and they start smiling then after a little while. They feel safe. It's the silence. It's nothing that I've said. That yes, they can feel the love through my words and through the songs and the stories, but there's nothing like joining them in that silence and just looking at them lovingly, and they know that they're completely safe to be exactly as they are. And this is what silence does for people. And yeah, it's really amazing. There's very few friends that we make that can actually match our silence. And when you meet somebody like that, it's a huge relief. There's somebody that I knew from a long time back from my Buddhist days, and I mean, she isn't a Buddhist now. I don't know whether she's a particularly so-called spiritual person or not. But one thing about this friend Helen, we hardly ever see each other. So when we do, it's just we're so at ease being silent together. It's just such a break, or we might go in the car to the cinema or something, and we just don't speak at all. Yeah, it speaks volumes. It speaks of just absolute comfort, absolute ease. So, for us all, I include myself all the time, for us all to just learn it kind of feels like a skill of just not thinking I have to fill this space just because it happens to be empty. In my first book, The Joy of No Self, there is a white page, and all it says at the top is it just says it's empty. Why fill it? That's all it says on that page.
The other thing, Mandy, is that just occurred to me that I did want to add in was I knew that there's this very wordy professor, and he was, you know, he was a brilliant man. No question, mathematics, anything you name it, he's got it. And he was doing modeling with this lady, and her name was Virginia. Virginia had been a family therapist for so long, and you know, like, and so anyway, so she had this kind of relationship with him, trying to model her expertise. And she, at the end of the day, she says to him, she said, "All that man needs is a hug. All he needs, you know, that, you know, it's basically a loneliness, and it's you know, and you know, hey, who doesn't have loneliness in their lives? Who doesn't want a bit of silence and the experience of a hug? You know, so basically, and that's what I think your poems embrace us in a hug of divinity that is so, you know, profound. And thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, John. That's just, I'm really touched by you saying that. Thank you very, very much. When I write, when these things come to me, I never know how they're going to go down. Sometimes I'm quite nervous about it, like this poem today, because I just thought, oh, everybody knows all this. It's going to be far too basic, but it's just because I need it. But you've all been so, so sweet, and thank you. Yes, Rafi.
Yes, in regard to all of that, the dream I had last night, when I woke up, the mind wanted to continue the dream. Look for the Lysol. It wanted to continue. How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to deal with this? There's nothing to deal with. Okay, it was the dream. It's gone now, but it wanted to perpetuate it and keep it going and deal with it and stuff. And I thought, well, this is not what the mind wants to do with this dream. Keep it going and keep referring to it and keep trying to figure out how to handle it and do all of that other stuff with it. And what you just said, occasionally the mind needs a hug. I love you, mind. It's okay. You can be quiet and then get back to the quiet. Because if it was one thing I learned from that is when I woke up is the mind wants to, what's in it for me? What do I learn? What am I being taught here? And what I'm being taught here is that the mind just wants to perpetuate, its ego mind wants to perpetuate the dream and deal with it. So it'll have something to deal with and something to stay active with and something to fight with and something to feel like a victim of and all of that. And give it a hug and put it down and let it rest and get back to the quiet because that's the reality. So the lessons are quite well. Thank you, John, for that because that was beautiful. And the hug is, I get to the point where, yes, I love the ego, I love the body, I love my mind, and I love myself. And because then you look at it, what else is there but the love? Nothing else is there but the love. Thank you. And that love is in the quiet. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. That hug is in the quiet, isn't it? The that it is so beautiful, John, what you said, because as when you talked about that hug, I find that every time I just drop and this door of quiet opens, I do feel hugged on the inside. And yeah, it's lovely. When we have a silence like that, it's just really good to see what just comes up for you in those few minutes, for us all, like is it a sort of feeling, oh, I wonder how long this is going to go on, or should I say something, or who's going to be next, or will people feel that they can't say something because there's a silence, or all these things can go in your mind. One thing I want to assure you of is if there's a silence, and particularly if I have my eyes closed, do interrupt it if you have something to say, or just allow it to be there if you haven't got anything to say. So I'd like to ask how it's going down the silence, if anybody's got anything to say about the silence. You like it? Good.
Just so lovely to just be here with you in this place.
And the silence gets louder and louder and louder and louder. That's the paradox that makes it so.
Yeah.
It dominates everything. It's perfect.
Yeah. And you can start to feel your fit. Sometimes when we're trying to get comfortable with silence, we can find our faces a bit tight. We're sort of half smiling, half thinking, and then when you just let your eyes just in your eyelids just go really loose and floppy, and your face go floppy, it gets easier and easier. There's a group expansion. But I would like to ask Lynn if you wouldn't mind. You can practice, you see, this. If you could read the poem for us to now, and that will bring us gently to the end of the call, if you would like to.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled. All right, let me switch my glasses. Is this God talking? Is this God talking? Is it so? If my thoughts are busy, judging or joyless, the answer is no. Is this God talking? Or is it my mind hawking its wayward, negative beliefs, stealing my peace like a thief's set of tools to break into my safe, taking my treasure and attacking my faith? No, that is not God talking. Is this God talking? Seems innocent enough. I'm only thinking about trivial stuff. There's nothing negative here, like worry or fear. In fact, I'm admiring this beautiful flower. Isn't that God talking for at least part of this hour? No, It is not God speaking. It's still my mind leaking opinions and descriptions about the flower, rather than joining its silence and feeling its power. Surely this is God talking, when I criticize myself and try to do better, to be good and adhere to the spiritual letter. No, it is not God talking. He will never condemn. He only knows your potential. You are his gem. So how do I know when God is talking? If I have a decision to make, a worry or concern, I'm so confused and don't know which way to turn. I'm searching for answers and any solutions, and I'm waiting to hear God's contributions. But I don't know if it is him talking. Then suddenly, this inner knot begins to untie, when at last I listen to his reply. When you really want to hear the truth, then you know I am talking. You're finally listening, and I am walking beside you, hand in hand. And now you suddenly understand, I am that. And only when you fall quiet and put yourself in a wordless diet, then the way ahead becomes crystal clear. In my presence, there is nothing to fear. Now that is God talking as the M that I am. There are no decisions in oneness, so I can't go wrong by taking frequent sojourns into his silent song. When I cease going on benders of forcing my own agendas, then I know it is God talking, because there is no word, just silence. Yet all I need is clearly heard. So I love my frequent habit of asking many times a day, is this God talking, or is it my way?
Oh, beautifully read, Lynn. That's spot on. I loved listening to you read that. Thank you. I'm very happy that you're going to be reading that on Dov's call, and that's just perfect. Thank you. Oh, thank you all so much. Anything anybody wants to say before we go? No, that's fine. I just love you all, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity of letting you share these, sharing these poems. Yes, Rafi.
I just want to thank you again for cute. It's a great shortcut for releasing. I use it not only do you think you think you're a person who was born and going to live a while and going to die. That's so cute. I also use it as, oh, you think the world is real and you have to deal with it. You have to get stuff from it. You have to protect yourself from it. You have to deal with that. It's adorable. I use them both, and they're both shortcuts to releasing. And I can't thank you enough, because I do them both every day, several times a day. It's fabulous. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. I love cute too. You're so cute. Yes, John.
Yeah, I just want to say, I wanted to say I love you. That's my last words. But then I got to say as well that how much I appreciate and love the presence of this environment that I have on a Monday morning for 1 hour. There's no words to describe the elevation and the frequency that's being put out by this combined group of images coming together like this. So I'm in full honor of that, and for me to be a participant is glorious. Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you, and
Oh,
everybody.
It's such a gift from God to me to be with everybody here. It just feels so connected, and it feels such a privilege. Yes, Joni, thank you.
I know that it's one of your goals you've shared with me that you want to help make this stuff practical. And I want to point out that what I got here for practical is when I really want to hear, and that there's no decisions in oneness, so I can't get it wrong. And that invites me into God's song. I think when Dove talked earlier about control, I kind of, I'm not allergic to that. I got it bad. I'm recovering. I used, but now I'm going to use this poem and these words. You know, I'm inviting myself into no decisions in oneness, so I can't get it wrong, and enjoy the silence in God's song. And isn't that cute and so adorable? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Joni. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote it, it helped me. So I thought, I always think, well, if it helped me, maybe it'll, do similar, you know. Yeah. Yeah, no, because I was twisted up about some decision and I just thought, oh, hang on, there aren't any decisions in God. What do I know to do about all that? It's about you wait, you just let it go because it always sorts itself out when we come back to that oneness. It knows everything. There are multitudinous ways to with which to bless mankind, as Mrs. Eddy used to say. You know, like God has all the answers. When we open that space and stop trying to outline everything, you know, it really is all there in the silence. You know, everything you need is in that silence. And I just find when I just get into that, everything just gets solved. Ding, 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 like dominoes going down one by one, they just get solved, you know. So yeah.
Oh, okay. We got a little time. I and Beth's on the call, so I'm reprocessing and integrating what we did. And you know, one of the things we used, or Beth guided me through drumming and bells, and we used noise or music, not music, but we were
Sound.
sound. Yes, thank you. And what I realized is in using the sound, it silenced my talking mind, you know, and I
Very
could,
good at that, yeah.
and then I felt the energy when we were, you know, and we also used sage. We did blessing. This was a blessing ceremony that went a week. I mean, we talked about it and wrote about it all week. But I noticed that in that ability to get to some silence or listening to the sound that was not of my ego voice, the fear of letting go of my old home or what the future is, or the old stories of my stuck, what I used to be stuck on, that's when I could feel glimpses of freedom and feel glimpses that I might be able to hear God or hear the inspiration or hear and notice the same things in a different way, where when I used to be stuck, I only saw one. And so in silencing the mind is where even what Beth did for me this week is a new beginning to practically get connected. Anyway, it was, so whether it was ceremony, sound, this poetry, and of course the book and our community, all of these things help quiet my mind so that I can connect, because the connection is my job, but silence in the mind is a practice. So thank you.
That's why there are these amazing different ways of doing it, and we all use different ways at different times because they're all the strands on the same violin, you know what I mean? They're all sort of playing the same, getting you to the place of the same sound, and beneath all sounds is the silence. That's why sometimes using sound, and particularly rhythmic drumming, can be a really great way into it, funnily enough. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what she was doing.
Oh, tremendous. How lovely for you. How spot on. Mhm. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up now, and I'll see you all next week. And thank you so much. Oh, I love you all so much. I wish we could all have a big cup of tea and cake together.
Love you, Mandy, so much.
Just want to express my gratitude from Boston.
Oh, thank you, Erica. Hi, Erica. Oh.
And
Oh,
I took screenshots of the poem,
oh
of
right.
the
Well,
writing.
Erica, yeah.
I don't know if you were going to send it out in a
Picture.
format.
I'm going to send it out, Erica. Are you on the mailing list? Did you get the email?
I am. I do.
Oh, so I will send it out right after this call. I'll send that poem out. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
And I know Beth is driving to Chicago, so
All right. Hello to Beth.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Dov and Lynn, for sharing the poem. That's really great. It's just like I'm only here for it to be truly helpful. So if the poems are truly helpful, that's all I want. Okay, bye everyone.
Love that.